You're watching The Citizen Report, real, in-depth American.
And welcome to The Citizen Report. I'm John Shannon, and thank you for joining me. As always, this newscast is real, in-depth American. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm here on location in Indian Trail, North Carolina, and I'm joined by Jonathan Baer, who was a veteran that spoke at the August 24th Town Council meeting in Indian Trail, where he was harassed and ultimately threatened with arrest. I was there personally in the room, and I was a witness to all of these things, as well as what happened after Jonathan left the room. And I wanted to take this opportunity to interview Jonathan about what his thoughts about all this. And I guess, Jonathan, the first question I have for you is, why did you speak at the council meeting in the first place?
Well, I did explain in the video during the council meeting that I had initially sent an email to Councilman Jerry Morse regarding a situation that happened in Colorado, and I wanted to honor a gentleman who ended up dying there. And so I did get a response back from him, and he then said that he would forward that information to the mayor and see if the mayor would consider bringing that up for discussion. So then he did add some other comments that I had a question about, and so I did a follow-up, and he never answered it. I did it probably one or two more times, and he still didn't answer. So then I asked the mayor to make my public comments for me by email, and so he never responded to either the initial email that was forwarded to him or to my emails that I subsequently sent for him to make public comments on my behalf. And so that's why I ended up showing up at that particular council meeting on the 24th, because I wanted to be able to read the very email that I sent that he should have done himself.
Okay. Now, I noticed that before the meeting itself that you actually went up to the town clerk, which is, for those that were watching the actual tape, if the camera shot that's focused on the mayor and council, it is camera left. Off camera frame, that is where the town clerk and the captain from the Union County Sheriff's Office, who, by the way, contracts with the town of Indian Trail. Why did you go up to the town clerk? I understand it had to do with signing up for the public comments. Explain what happened when you went up to her.
Well, in my previous experiences with making public comments, the sign-up sheet was with the town clerk. And so in the last 3 years or so, I haven't done any real public comments except for maybe a couple of times. And so it was to my past experience that I went to her to sign up. And she explained to me that that the sign-up sheet was actually down in the lobby, and the council chamber is on the second floor. So I explained to her that I walked by not realizing that that's where the sign-up sheet was. So then she offered to put my name down as a courtesy.
Okay. So the mayor, when he opened up public comments, he called two people up ahead of you. And of course, he knew who their names were. And he also knew who you are, and it's kind of curious that he knew to call on you if supposedly you weren't on the sign-up sheet. Which is, of course, you were on the sign-up sheet. So you get up to the podium after he calls you up, and they started to interrupt you. I believe the Councilman McIntyre was the first one to interrupt you. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then the mayor starts launching, his attack. Why did you continue to speak at that point?
Well, quite honestly, because I was going to make a point of having my statement read into the record and to demand an answer to the question. And it was as simple as that.
Okay. And the Union County Sheriff's Office, the captain from the Sheriff's Office, at some point he did get up from where he was seated to come over next to you. He removed the mic from the podium and he whispered into your ear, my understanding is, and what did he say exactly?
I can't tell you verbatim, but it was to the effect that he said, come with me or I will have to handcuff you. And he said that twice.
Okay. Tell me what was going through your mind at that moment when you were told that, basically threatened with arrest for just making public comments.
Quite honestly, I didn't think anything of it. I was there for a purpose, and I was going to accomplish that mission. So I was not going to buckle under any forms of harassment or intimidation.
Okay. The Union County Sheriff Office the captain from the sheriff's office, do you believe that he, it wouldn't be the term excessive force, but do you believe he went too far? Do you believe that he acted in a way that was in violation of his oath of office?
Well, as a veteran, I've taken the oath of oath of service, rather, and so I'm very well aware of the oath that the deputies have to take. It's the same one that the sheriff has to take, and their primary duty is to protect our individual rights. That's a primary duty, and he did fail on that level. As far as his decision to take that kind of course of action, that can only be speculative on my part, and only he knows the truth of it. But he should have, in my opinion, just stayed the course as far as not doing anything, because it wasn't his purview.
And wouldn't you agree that when he went up there and basically did the bidding of the mayor and the council, wouldn't you agree that he should have acted with more restraint, and that he should have understood that what the mayor was doing was basically a personal attack? Because if you look at the context, they did not interrupt the first two people that went up there to speak. They did not provide their names. The closest that it came to that was the second person just made a clarification that he was basically continuing from the first person, I suppose, if I'm understanding that right, but that they did not by word for word provide, my name is so and so and my address is such and such. Do you believe that the captain was acting at the behest of the council and mayor instead of acting in a way that he should have acted as a member of law enforcement?
Well, again, I can't speak to what was in his mind.
All right.
But based on his actions and based on my observations of the mayor, I would come to the conclusion that yes, he was acting in the best interest of the council and not in the best interest of a citizen.
Okay. All right. Now, of course, if you watch, for my viewers, if you watch the tape, you'll know that they did relent. The mayor finally gave in, and I believe two of the council members also provided answers. Two abstained, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And but in the way, and I'll just say personally, I did not expect them to act like this. I figured that they would have made some kind of trouble of it, but to see this actually escalate to making where the captain from the sheriff's office threatened arrest to take him out in handcuffs, did you expect them to act in this way with respect to the mayor and council? Did you expect them to be this apprehensive of your public comments?
Based on past experiences, nothing surprises me, and so I would say that I did not expect it to happen, and especially not in the manner and over the context of what they were trying to do. It, to me, is just so preposterous, because anyone can clearly see with their own eyes that I was not raising a ruckus, I was not disturbing the peace, I was not doing anything illegal or unethical or immoral. I was simply there as a resident, making a public statement and asking for answers, and this is the kind of treatment that they had decided to use against me. But as far as anticipating it, no. I mean, I wasn't preparing for it. but at the same time, it didn't surprise me.
Okay. All right. Now, I personally stayed as a member of the press. I was there to witness all this, of course, and I stayed after Jonathan left because I was there in my own capacity and I stayed till the end of the meeting where they had their typical part where they have council comments, and where when the mayor's turn came up, he basically launched into you and attacked you personally, and suggested that there were, that you're supposed to provide your name, not a alias or title or whatever, but you can say absolutely that your name, first and last name, was on that sign-up sheet, correct? Just to be perfectly clear for the record.
Yes, it was, and the town clerk had come back to confirm that my name was on there. She had actually asked about another signature that I didn't have any idea about. Okay.
All right. And then he also seemed to allude to that we're currently in this political season. So I want to put the question to you. Was this, just for the record, was this a political stunt, or did you do this out of a genuine purpose of seeking an answer?
As I stated before, there was a gentleman in Colorado who died a hero, and I wanted to honor that person as such. Well, at least asking the town to do it. And so, to me, it wasn't a political issue. The mayor just kind of pulled that out of his hat, and because nowhere in any of my emails, nowhere in any of my comments did I ever even bring up the issue of the upcoming election. So to me, it was a non-issue as far as trying to get elected or anything of that nature.
Okay. And just for, I should have clarified this with that, as part of that last question, you're actually on the ballot this time around, as you haven't been in the past, for the town council. So we've established this was not a political ploy. You did this because you wanted an answer. You wanted them to honor John Hurley. You wanted an answer to your question, and they gave you trouble for that. Now, my last question, and I'm going to kind of let you answer however you wish to, take as long as you need to take. Do you believe that the town of Indian Trail is fundamentally corrupt, and if so, how?
Well, you have a lot of people with a different definition of what corruption is. What I can speak to is this: a reasonable person could conclude that they were discriminating against me. A reasonable person could conclude that they were harassing me. It's very clear, if someone ever wanted to look at the documents I have and the video accounts that I have of their persistent harassment of me over the course of 11 years. And I can attest that I know someone personally to whom the mayor had spoken to and had slandered my name. And so the evidence is there, the witnesses are there, and so as far as corruption in that sense, yes, they are corrupt because they have made this a personal vendetta against me. And I have done nothing wrong. I've done everything out in the open. I've even video recorded everything that I've done, and they've tried to use this stuff against me. And no other citizen in Indian Trail has been threatened with arrest at least 3 times for exercising their rights. And so the one thing I do want to get to point out is the fact that these people are petty tyrants. They are not true Americans, because they would not treat a fellow American like this if they were. They do not honor the veterans like they say that they do, because they would not treat me the way that they do if they didn't have utter contempt for the people they say that they represent, because it's not about me. If they're going to treat me this way, it's a sign of who they are. It's an indication of who they are and how they view contemptuously the public. They look down on the public, and I'm evidence of that. Every time I try to say something, they shut me down. They try to put me in my place. They try to move the goalposts. Every time I'm around, someone else can do something, I'll follow suit, and then they change the rules. So in that sense, yes, they are corrupt.
And just as a personal observation on my part, they have a Veterans Memorial outside the town hall, the new town hall that is, and it's meant to honor these veterans. And yet, you're actually a veteran yourself at the U.S. Air Force, correct? Mm-hmm. And yet, this is how they actually treat a veteran when he comes forth to speak, to have his public comments, and this is how they treat a veteran. So is this how they want to be perceived? I think that I think it's pretty despicable, if you ask me, how they treated you on the August 24th meeting. So just very briefly, let me just say that for those that are watching that are not local to Indian Trail or the Charlotte area, you might be asking yourself, why does this matter? Why should I care? Well, simply put, if it can happen here, a town of some 40,000 people, correct? Mm-hmm. If it can happen here, it can happen anywhere, towns big and small. So you should care what's going on in your town government. So my audience needs to become involved. From a Christian point of view, I'll just say briefly, we are supposed to be involved, and we should be involved with what's going on, because if we're not, then you can guess who is involved if Christians are not. So I wanted to thank you, Jonathan, for coming on my show today. And to my audience at home, thank you for taking time out of your day to watch us. And God bless each and every one of you. And I will see you back in the studio next time. Have a great day, everyone.